Hi boys and girls, it's me, and I'm in a radio repair lair today. As you can see, probably if you've never been to this page before, this is where I do all my radio repair work and some thinking sometimes. So what I want to do today was I'm going to start a whole new new chapter for my page, and what I want to do is I want to share some little tricks and hints. Basically to target the newbies, people are just starting out learning. There's a lot of people on YouTube that do this radio repair, and they're extremely talented, and I've actually learned some things from watching other people. And what I wanted to do is basically to share some of my knowledge for people who are just getting started, because I think the getting started part is probably the hardest aspect to doing this thing. So I'm going to be sharing this with you, and basically every once in a while, whatever I happen to think of, I'll put a little video up and show you what we're going to be doing, and that's what I'm going to be doing today. So let's get started. Okay, now what I have here on the bench is basically the chassis of a Zenith 6D030 chassis. This is a 6-tube radio. Is made probably around 46, 47, right after World War II. And this is the wooden part of the radio right here. It's actually pretty nice. And I bought a few things at the Sussex Hamfest. If you remember my kind of a quickie Sussex Hamfest video, this was one of the things that followed me home. And I used to have one of these, and I actually gave it away as a gift for some very nice people that helped Mrs. RW and I, and that's a long story. You save that for another video. So I saw this, basically it was under a table and kind of buried around some other stuff, and it had a number on top of it. I don't want to tell you what I paid for it, because you folks are probably going to think I stole it. But this is the radio we're going to focus in on today, and you can see I've kind of cleaned it up a little bit. It still needs some work. Let me show you what the underneath looks like. Okay, the radio is a 6-tuber, and when I bought it, someone had already taken the liberty of taking out the filter can and replacing all new electrolytics. But when I actually brought this up on a Variac, it didn't sound very good. So it was mostly just a matter of replacing a couple of these caps here. These two were the biggest offenders. Let me get out so you can see it a little better. Once I replaced these, and then this one down here, the radio started to perform okay. But the radio still has an unusual problem. I've already figured out what it was. I wanted to show you how I came to be with this, and how I solved the problem. Okay, I tried to get the best picture I could here, but as you can see, there's the 6 tubes, and it's even got a 12BA6 right here. Oh, I'm not supposed to use my finger. Right there. Wait a minute, let me get down there. There it is right here. Little 12BA6, which I had to replace, by the way, because the one that was in here was really, really weak. It was just barely on the edge of being good. But I have an ample supply of those tubes. So anyway, I ran most of the. I actually ran all these tubes through the tube tester, and they all tested fine. And that's one thing you want to do is when you kind of get your radio to the point where you want to run the Variac onto an isolation transformer, you want to make sure all your tubes are in good shape, or else you're really not gonna. You're gonna be spinning your wheels and really not getting anywhere. So let's turn on the radio and let me show you what happened. Okay, as you can see, the radio is playing, and I live about a little more than 20 miles from New York City and the transmitter site. Right now I'm picking up WFAN, which is basically it's an all sports station. It's 660 AM here. Now I haven't done any alignment or anything like that to the radio yet. I haven't quite gotten that far. So as I tune down,
because he wanted ins and outs and ups
that's
and downs.
WOR,
And
that's 710.
Else and,
now watch what happens when I get to WABC. WABC, for those of you who aren't familiar with the stations in this area, that's 770. And that was a staple of my childhood growing up because they played the Beatles when I was real little. You hear that squeal?
Former Associate Director of President Reagan's Office of Management and Budget.
Now, obviously, that's not a good thing. So let me show you what I had to do. Okay, now the radio is still on at the moment, and you can hear that squeal. Okay, we want to eliminate that squeal. Well, that squeal could be any number of things, but this is a simple test to make sure that basically you're not picking up anything else. Let me show you what I'm going to do. I'm going to just take my hand, and this is the 12SA7 tube right here. Alright, let me just put my hand over top of it and watch what happens, or a couple fingers.
He's also a former Assistant Treasury Secretary, and he's also on the list of the great mentioner.
You hear how I cleared up?
Next Fed chair.
Here, let me take I've got a steel ruler here. Let me put it over the top.
Make a great Fed chair.
Well, thank you, Larry. Good to be on your show.
Thanks,
Let's talk about the
Hear that cleared up?
Now here's it. Just kind of think about this for a second. Let's look at this.
So let me unplug this. So obviously, well, when the tube heats up and it's going, it's creating some disturbance, probably in the first IF can right here. Okay. Now it's not to say that this 12SA7 is a bad tube. This actually showed fine emissions, and you know, everything was good. There was no shorts or transconductance. But because this is not a shielded or a metal 12SA7, it's creating some disturbance, and it's probably being picked up right here in this IF can. So what I'm going to do is, I had it here. Oh, here it is. Now this is kind of ugly, and looks like it's been around the block, but it's got perfect, actually it's almost perfect emissions. It's just a little bit less on emissions than this, the glass one. But watch what happens when I put this 12SA7 in instead of the glass one. Okay, now I have the metal 12SA7 in. Let me plug the radio in, and I just left everything else alone. Now listen to what the radio is going to be like once it heats up. Give it another second.
Okay, all well and good. We agree on the tax cut, especially on the business.
I'm just tuning around the station.
To me,
now it's picking up a little bit of noise from my fluorescent lighting, but that squealing is gone.
We can't grow faster than 2%. We're in a period.
So in this case, the metal tube will certainly work a lot better than this glass tube. Now, it's not to say that this glass tube is no good or you can't use it at all. This might be fine for other radios, so I'm going to save this and then use this maybe on a different radio that where the glass envelope is not going to be an issue. But in this radio it is. So we're going to leave that metal tube in there. So now I'll just perform the rest of the service of the radio, and I'll probably refinish the cabinet and get that all done, and you know, be a shelf queen, because I kind of like this radio. So anyway, just wanted to share that with you. So when you hear that noise, don't think it's a silver mica disease issue, or I mean, it still could be, but it'll be rare. But if you got a squeal or maybe even static, I had a similar occurrence happen I did a Halcrafter's S40, and it had this 6J5 G tube in it, and this is an oscillator tube. Well, this tube was next to a 6F6 G tube that was in the final for the audio output, and this was causing static. When this thing heated up, the output tube was actually picking up noise from this tube, so I had to use a shielded GT tube similar to this. So it's not that it's a rare occurrence. It can happen. And this might have been one of the reasons why I got this radio on the cheap. So.
It's up to 1.2%.
Now the radio sounds pretty good, but I still have to go through the rest of it. So anyway, figure I'd share that with you. So anyway, don't throw those old radios out. I used to say that all the time in my early videos, because someone actually did some work and probably ran into this problem and gave up on it. Maybe, who knows? So don't throw them out unless they're junk. Take care. Bye.